during this program. So I'm very, very pleased to be here, and I bid you all welcome. Welcome to the University of Guyana Turkeyen campus here at the Education Lecture Theatre. And welcome to those persons who are online. I think we have a number of significant persons online. As we get started, I want to recognize, I think online is our Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin, the distinguished 11th Vice Chancellor of the University and the first female Vice Chancellor. Also online is our University Librarian, Ms. Gwyneth George, and let me double check. Here in the audience, we have our University Registrar, Dr. Nigel Gravesandi. Also here with us, the Deputy Librarian, Ms. Deborah Lowe, our Deputy Registrar, Dr. Theodosius Velosa. I see also a Senior Assistant Registrar, Dr. Junan Garnett, and another Senior Assistant Registrar is somewhere here. She has two roles this afternoon to be recognized, both as the Senior Assistant Registrar and as family to one of the authors, Dr. Daniela King. I think I see Mr. David Kurt, Deputy Director for the Institute of Distance and Continuing Education. Was he in here somewhere just now? I'm sure I saw him come in. Oh, he's right here. I'm looking in the wrong direction. We have, as I mentioned, some family of the authors. I see Mr. Fox across there, and I just learned the sister of Dr. Murray, and I saw the family of Miss Uzzi walk in. They're seated towards the back. And I'm going to try not to miss anyone, but still not take up a lot of time. We have a representative from GTI, Mr. Akeem Wilson, a senior lecturer in science, and whom else? Representatives from DEC. I don't see any press, but maybe online. Anyone else online that I missed? I don't think so. So I think we may have some members that are purple-blooded from the chemistry department. Are there some people here? They're behaving themselves today. We are behaving ourselves today. The ceremony this afternoon will be concise but momentous. We will receive some opening remarks from Professor Mohammed Martin. We'll listen, well, if I see the gentleman come in, we may listen to some beautiful music. Otherwise, I will not sing for you. And then we will hear from the esteemed authors of this publication, and then have a chance to have a conversation, a back and forth with questions and answers. In the end, we will have a few remarks to close and our appreciation, and we'll have some light refreshments. My stories. So, for as long as I've been teaching at University of Guyana, teaching biology, I've seen biology students express a negative attitude towards chemistry. The chemistry lectures are probably very familiar with this. It annoyed me to the core. And their expression was at times one of annoyance. So the fact that at a third year biology course, I'm asking them to remember some chemistry concept that they learned in first year or second year. What's the relevance there? Why are you asking me chemistry? I finished that course and I'm done with it. So some years ago, after taking up the first year bio course, I started a class by saying a simple thing to them. I would lean into the microphone and whisper, as if it were a secret, to say, do not tell the chemists, but biology is really chemistry. And they would laugh and they would wonder, and then there are times when I tell them my own story, they wonder, are you a weirdo because you're a biologist and what were you doing with chemistry and all that nonsense. But that introduction was one to kind of cause them to think, because that negative attitude we see very pervasive, especially among the biology students, and it affects how they absorb and how they take on that particular subject. The attitude is probably not unique to biologists, it's probably across and probably goes back to what happens in high school and simply persists. We will come to learn during this ceremony, and after you would have gotten your own copy of this book and you would have read it. Oh, nobody's saying yes? You would come to learn that the issues are more complex than my reference to attitudes towards the subject. I've had the privilege to scan through this work, and it is insightful and prescriptive. Based on empirical evidence, the authors point to other issues affecting the state of tertiary chemistry education. They point to our socio-cultural and economic context, the students' preparedness for the subject, how students learn versus how we teach, what we teach, and what students are exposed to and engaged in as they learn. To address it all, they present their innovation, the 3P approach. You likely wonder what that is, and I'm certain that after you leave here, you would have been introduced to it. And once you've purchased the book and you've read it, you will fully understand what it is. They didn't ask me to do this. This is So without any further ado, let me move on with the program that we're here for. I would like to invite our esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Paloma Mohammed Martin, to give her opening remarks. I think you should turn your attention to the screen because she's online.
Good afternoon, everyone. Calvin, thank you. Can you hear me? Calvin, can you guys hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? All right, I'm seeing a thumbs up. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very sorry that I can't be here in person today, but the university has a lot of other work that has to be done outside of Guyana, and sometimes that work has to be done by me. And that's one of the things that comes with the job. There is a fundraiser in Toronto tomorrow, and that required me to be present, and so that's where I am. But I could not miss the opportunity to speak at this book launching for several reasons. First of all, please allow me to congratulate the three ladies who have collaborated across disciplines to produce this work. They are both erudite, beautiful, brilliant, and it is wonderful to see them working across disciplines to do something that is so profoundly important. Secondly, I'd like to congratulate the University of Guyana Press, which even though they did not manage to publish the book, they did support the production of this launch, and that speaks volumes. The book is important and impressive, even though I haven't gotten a final copy of it yet. But I learned in asking about it that a very prestigious international publisher published the book, and that's Routledge. And that cannot be a simple task. So without having read it yet, I would like to believe it is a worthy commendation, not only of the importance of the subject matter, but its erudition and its scholarliness, because Routledge is a known academic publishing house. The third reason why I'm happy about this is because it goes a long way towards debunking the myth that University of Guyana scholars do not produce research and they do not publish. Just this morning, somebody who was in a public forum in Guyana was sending me voice recordings of someone in a very senior position making erroneous comments about UG and research. And I was smiling to myself because I thought, wonderful. This weekend, this story is going to hit the press, and I hope they will have the grace to apologize. The truth of the matter is that University of Guyana has been producing research, but I think we have not been doing a good job at systematizing and making public that research and also producing applied research that can be useful. So this is the fourth reason why I think this book and its authors are to be applauded, because it's a book that is applied, can be used in the classroom by academicians, by students, by people who teach, by theoreticians and people who also study the way in which science is taught and science is understood. So this is also another very good reason. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, the Academy is about more than teaching. It is also about research, observation, about practice. And I believe that the book in itself basically brings together very beautifully these four areas, because it is a book about teaching based on research, based on observation, and that can be used in many ways, not only to support the grounding of how we teach and direct the grounding of how we teach chemistry, but also to help build out a canon of work around the area of how the sciences are treated. And this, of course, is a huge area, a big topic in not only Guyana, but the world at this moment. This morning, I spoke at a conference in Jamaica. I wasn't in Jamaica, I was online. But it was a conference on the future of sociology and the ways in which science, but I spoke about the ways in which science can be served and the way in which science serves society. Because somehow we seem to believe that these disciplines, because they are constructed as ivory towers and as discrete, somehow are completely divorced from the reasons why we have them, and that is to support and serve human life. Every single thing we do is to support and serve human life. And so the science at the center of it is very, very, very important. Now, I don't know anything about chemistry myself. And so I will stop here before I head into very, very, very dangerous waters and start to say stuff about things that I might have remembered incorrectly from my high school days. But suffice it to say, I am delighted, the university is delighted to have this edition. It comes quickly on the heels of another book that was launched in social sciences by Dr. Dwayne Edwards I think last week. And another book that was launched by Louisa Daggers on archaeology and geography about a year or so ago. So the university's research engine is cranking up and doing very, very well. And with the exception of Dwayne, I noticed it is the ladies that are leading the way. So congratulations. I'd like to exhort some of the men, including Calvin. We need to see your work on fish or whatever it is next. And to ask that the university community, as well as others, supports the book, not only by publicizing it, get a copy of the cover, post it, as they say, big up the authors, big the book up, and make sure that people know that this scholarly work is coming from the University of Guyana, and that they are able to access it and use it And I hope this is not the only launch we're going to see. I hope we're going to see some others, maybe some book signings down at the National Library, perennial. Note, note, note. Maybe in Giftland Mall, and other places, because we cannot confine our scholarly work to the university. And maybe this is the reason why people feel that we don't produce, because we're kind of locked behind our little desks and so on in the academy. And that probably has to change. Let's see a TikTok about this book. Let's see a social media post about this book and its impact. And let's see many, many more. Ladies, congratulations. Thank you all, and God bless you.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor. When VC was mentioning she hopes this is not the only launch, I thought she was talking about future books coming. Because I note that there's a promissory note in this book. It deliberately says first edition, which means there are editions to come. So, there are some points I want to underscore from what the Vice Chancellor said. One is to note the publisher, that this is no little backwater, somebody cranking up something under the bottom house kind of a thing. This is an internationally recognized education publisher. She pointed out the fact that UG does do research and UG publishes. What we oftentimes don't do is publicize. And so we have to do a bit more of the publicizing and popularizing what we do. She made 4 points, but I think I only got 3. The significance of the book in teaching, in research, and practice. And there was a 4th thing, and maybe that will come in the test after this ceremony, before you could get snacks. She also made a good point, a significant point about the fact that science must serve this society, and this is what this book also contributes to. So unfortunately, I don't see our musician stepping in. The gentleman stepping in, I don't think he has a musical bone in his body. I know him. Welcome, good sir. And I know on other occasions, had Dr. Fox not been on stage and been the author of this, she would have happily taken the mic and given us a lovely rendition of the song. But we will move on, and the task is then mine to introduce the esteemed authors, 2 of which have Purple Hearts, and I noticed they have either overridden or incorporated my good friend and sister Jackie, because I see purple all over the place on this one. So they're all my Purple Heart sisters here. You have a copy of mine, but I prefer to read what's in the book. Musician arrived. Oh, the musician has arrived. Now I'm not gonna sing and fill the place, so I could only tell stories. I promise you, I can only tell stories. In church, when they have the talent stuff, they usually go, okay, this person will sing, this person will act, this person will say a poem. Oh, Calvin, you will cheer. That's hint, hint. The only thing you could do is talk a lot. So we're going to be hearing some wonderful, I think maybe soothing and very relaxing and perhaps inspirational music from a young man who is now very well known, I think, within our community here at UG. For me, he popped on the scene just last year, but then I've been seeing him at so many events. You'd believe he was here for 10 years. Brilliant talent. I'm filling the gaps here. With all truths. And so, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to be hearing some fine saxophone music from Mr. Damian Lane.
Who is from the medical school.
So we're going to make some shifting to ensure that we get the technical bit sorted. So sequencing, I will introduce the authors. We will have some lovely music from Mr. Lane, and then right after that, the next people you will hear are the authors. That seems like a determined flow. There was a little post made a week or something ago on a social media site that I'm not plugging, and it referred to the length of time that two of us knew each other. I had to say, y'all, please don't count the years. It's a long time. Dr. Dawn I. Fox is senior lecturer in the Department of Chemistry at the University of Guyana. Her overarching research interest is in converting local material into filters and sorbents for improving water quality. Dr. Fox earned her Bachelor of Science in Chemistry at the University of Guyana in 1997, and in 2002, she earned a Master of Chemistry and Materials Engineering at the University of Auckland. She returned to her home university and completed a postgraduate diploma in education. Then in 2011, she graduated with a Doctor of Philosophy degree in chemical engineering from the University of South Florida. In addition to a tertiary teaching career that spans over 20 years, Dr. Fox has several peer-reviewed journal and conference proceedings publications, one book chapter, and holds 2 patents. In 2018, she became the first Guyanese to be awarded the Organization for Women in Science for the Developing World, Elsevier's Foundation Early Career Award for Scholarship and Research in the Physical Sciences. My friend and sister, Dr. Dawn Fox. Ms. Medeba Uzzi is a general chemist and chemistry educator within the Department of Chemistry at the University of Guyana. With more than 20 years of experience in chemistry education, her expertise in managing large, diverse general chemistry classes ignited her passion for research into innovative pedagogies and student engagements. Her other research efforts focus on natural and sustainable options for water treatment and energy generation. Ms. Uzzi is currently pursuing a PhD in material science and engineering with emphasis on concentrated solar power systems at Florida International University. Again, I give you my friend and sister, Ms. Medeba Uzzi. Dr. Jacqueline Murray is the director of the Institute for Distance and Continuing Education at the University of Guyana. She is the holder of a Bachelor of Social Sciences in Accountancy from the University of Guyana, a Master's of Science, Finance, Accounting, and Management from the University of Bradford, Masters of Education in Measurement and Evaluation from the University of Guyana, and a doctorate in Business Administration from Edinburgh Napier University for a dissertation, Improving Student Satisfaction at a Caribbean University using a customer-focused strategy. With over 28 years in the teaching and learning environment, Dr. Murray enjoys research and has published six peer-reviewed articles. She is an executive member of the Caribbean Area Network for Quality Assurance in Tertiary Education and the Caribbean Academy of Sciences, Guyana. Dr. Murray Formerly held positions on the board of the New Amsterdam Technical Institute, the Guyana Women's Leadership Institute, the New Amsterdam Parent Teachers Association, and the Council of the University of Guyana. Please welcome my sister, Dr. Jacqueline Murray. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I will yield the floor to Mr. Damian Lane for some beautiful music.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sing it with me. Let's go. I love you, Lord, and I lift my voice to worship you. Oh, my soul, rejoice. Take joy, my King, in what you hear, and let it be a sweet, sweet sound in your ear.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lane, for that wonderful rendition. And thank you, Chair, for those glowing introductions. So we begin a gaffe about this book. So sometime in 2017, I said to my husband, I really would like to write a book about teaching chemistry, is what I've been doing for 20 years. And without missing a beat, he said, go for it, do it. So my husband, Terrence Fox, thank you, sweetie, for that faith, for that implicit faith. You gave me the courage to start this journey, and I think it's only fitting that we start the gaffe with a note of thanks, because there were many persons there. Our families, first and foremost among them. We could not have done this without you. So I'm going to put some people on the spot. When you hear your name, please stand and be acknowledged. Terrence Fox. Thank you. Uzzi Israel. Yidiri Uzzi. Kazapo Uzzi, in her absence. Bonnie Murray. Marcel Richards. And Brighton Murray. Thank you. Without your support and your sacrifice, we could not have spent all these hours for many years working on this project. Thank you so much. There are others that we need to thank. So I'm going to start with the University of Guyana community, arguably our real home, based on the hours you spend there. Special thanks to the registry, Dr. Nigel Graves-Andy, Dr. Theodosius Veloza, and Ms. Vanessa Van Long, for critical data supporting the first chapter that we wrote as a team together, and later chapters in the book. Thanks to the... Yes! Here. Thanks to the Center of Excellence for Teaching and Learning, because at one plenary session at the inaugural conference, that's where the spirit and heart of this team was born at the discussion table. The three of us met up. Special thanks to our colleagues in the Department of Chemistry. I see ably represented there. The faculty, thank you. Faculty of Education and Humanities, and the thousands of students over the years who have entrusted us with their education. You are our reason for being. Thank you. Thanks to all the students and educators from various institutions who participated in a survey that supported our baseline data gathering. When we wanted to know the status quo, we reached out to Cyril Potter College of Education, Government Technical Institute, Guyana School of Agriculture, of course, members of the Department of Chemistry at UG, and students of natural sciences. Mind you, this was during COVID, so thank you. Thanks to Mrs. Paulette Charles and Ms. Charlene Wilkinson for taking time to read and give feedback early in the process. Thank you both. Very special thanks to our editors, Elsbeth Wright and Alice Salt from the Taylor and Francis Routledge team, for their support for years and some guidance and back and forth. Also to our patient copy editor team, led by Aloysius St. Thomas from Nugent Publishing. Yes, publishing does take patience. And finally, our preemptive thanks to the prospective readers of the book. Each one, thank you in advance for your support. So one of the questions that most writers get asked is, so where did you get the inspiration to write the book? So for some people, they have that, eureka moment and it's a flash of inspiration. That didn't happen with me. My inspiration was a spark that got fed from many sources over time until it became a compelling motivation. This had to be done. So one part of the inspiration was intrinsic. I'm passionate about teaching, but that was a spark that was fed in high school. I had inspiring teachers. I have to mention Ms. Grace Henry started that fire, and yes, we must applaud. And that fire never went out. I need to mention persons like Mr. Alfred Bulai and Dr. David Singh. There were so many others, but a teacher can make a difference, and this is the evidence. Apart from that, I looked around me and I saw among my colleagues within the faculty, within the department, outside of the faculty, pockets of excellence that they carry as torches by themselves. And I knew that if we didn't capture it and put it down for the future generations, it may go when they leave this scene. And so for the future, I think we needed to capture it. So for that, I decided, yes, it's not just about me anymore. It's about the next generation, and that was the motivation. This has to be done. So I started work during my sabbatical, and 1 year later, it wasn't finished, like very surprised. So I reached out to my colleague, Ms. Medeba Uzzi, an active and prolific researcher in chemistry education, and I told her about my idea and how I wanted to get this book done, and she just readily came on board. Thank you for trusting me, Medeba. I appreciate that. When we put our work together, we realized a clear picture. Pedagogical diversity is the key. You have to reach out with many prongs to catch many people, different interests, different levels, different ideas about chemistry, different fears. But we realized that something was missing. We needed an educational theorist, a specialist, who could give us that theoretical underpinning that would ground as well as connect our work in chemistry education. We found that and so much more in Dr. Jacqueline Murray, reached out to her, and she agreed to join. She agreed, yes, she wanted to get on board. Thank you, Jackie, for trusting us. The rest, they say, is history. But that's not true. So I will invite Jackie to explain to you what that process really entailed. So over to you, Jackie.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, everyone who's listening. Well, the process you would have heard alluded to a few seconds ago by Dawn, where she said, she had this idea. Anybody who wants to write a book, you could have an idea. It could be something that you're interested in. It could be a problem that exists in your environment, and you want to find a solution to it. But just having that is not sufficient, as Dawn recognized. She needed people to come alongside her. And anybody who wants to write a book, you're going to have people to come alongside you, to support you in the process. In this age that we're living in, we recognize that doing work from across disciplines, it's important. And so pulling together an interdisciplinary team is likely to give you perspectives that you cannot dream of. And I would dare say, Dawn and Medeba, we found that to be the case. Outside of that, there are particular characteristics that your team has to possess. I know maybe readily you might be thinking, oh, they have to be compatible. I don't think you need to have compatibility to begin with. But a key characteristic that you should have and must have is adaptability. And you also need to have flexibility of thinking. But I'm focusing on adaptability for the simple reason that we began this work just before COVID hit. And we had to do it during COVID. We had our own different types of work to do. We're mothers, we're educators, we're teachers, we are part of a social organization outside of all of that. And so we had to find a way of balancing things. And so we recognized at one of our meetings that we need to lock in some specific time. This time is what we will use. No family, no one will intrude on it. And so we settled on a Tuesday night. Initially, we started meeting every week, and then we decided 2 weeks. So you had to have this adaptive spirit. I would dare say that my team found that when they are working with me, if they are not adaptive, they're in trouble. I'm going to share something. The process went along, and after all the work and thing that is done, and you got other work to do, I just went silent on them. And they were probably wondering what was the matter with me. And when I turned up, Medeba right at the back there, she said, oh, you disappear on us. I said, no, I didn't disappear on you. I was taking a break for mental health. Dawn called me out on it. Well, her words were not as nice as Medeba's. And anybody knows her, I am sure you know what she might have said to me. But listen to me. At the end of the day, we have to be adaptable. We have to be open to criticisms from team members. And if you're part of a team and you cannot speak to things that you are not appreciative of, then you don't need to be part of that team. I found that this team was a flexible one, an adaptive one, and we end up being very compatible. In this team, we made presentations to each other. If you're writing a book, you're going to have to get another perspective. Don't believe you're the sage on the stage. That will never, ever be the case. So we're given assignments, and then on these Tuesday nights, we got a report back. So what we did, we held each other accountable. And when we got the criticisms, when we got a different lens to what was being presented, we took it on board and we moved on ahead. Today, we have this book as a product of all that I've been telling you. But I want to tell you something else. This book, and getting to this stage, we had to do up a proposal. So at some stage in your writing, you're going to have to write a proposal, and it's going to have to meet the standards of your publisher. But getting to a publisher was another story. We had to deal with rejections. There were those persons who, perhaps at the time, they did not feel that they wanted anything to do with our book. But let me tell you, we finally got the creme de la creme of publishers, Routledge no less. So, if you get rejections in anything in your life, tell yourself, better come in. There is better in store. So, we had Routledge. They assigned editors to us. They assigned people personally to us if we needed assistance, so we could get that. And so in any book writing process, if you do not consider these things, I do not know if you'll ever reach a stage where you're going to have a book. What you think, Medeba?
Absolutely.
Good.
Agreed. So thank you, Jackie, for that. I wanted to share. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the book. So I wanted to give some central ideas about the book, and then I'll invite Medeba to give you some tidbits from the book. So the central idea, you heard the chair, my brother Calvin, refer to the 3P approach. And the chemists in the room know that that is a call out and a pun for the 3P to generate p orbitals. Hear, hear. Right? But in this instance, it actually means pedagogy, programming, and people. And the underpinning word is diversity. So when we started out, our focus was on diversity in pedagogies because we needed to engage. Our students were coming, I don't want to say less and less prepared, but with different levels of preparedness to our introductory class, which is the gateway to all the rest of chemistry. And we had to reach them, we had to engage them, different levels of motivation, and we realized that just appealing to cognitive strengths alone are not going to work. So that was the first thrust of the book, that we had to widen our pedagogical toolbox. But over time we realized that that focus was too narrow and we needed to take a more holistic picture. So the next level was actually what happens outside the classroom, and some of it also inside the classroom, is that it's not about content alone. We needed to provide a holistic experience. That's where the extracurricular and intracurricular programming came up, where we wanted our students to have multidisciplinarity, being able to interact with people from different disciplines, being able to work in teams, having work readiness skills, ICT skills, because the graduate of today, a lot is required of them. So you can't just be excellent at chemistry alone. You have to be able to function in this complex global world. And even right here in Guyana, it's getting more and more complex. So that's where the programming thrust came on. But what really clinched it is to realize that at the end of the day, teaching and learning is really a human enterprise. Even if AI is involved, there was a human somewhere behind it. There are people involved in teaching and learning, and it's the teachers and the students. And those two hats are not mutually exclusive at any one time. So the third thrust of the book is, can we embrace, harness, and capitalize, exploit, and make positive that diversity that we saw as a challenge? Can we embrace the diversity in our students? Can we let them tell us what their interests and their motivations are and infuse it into what we do? Can we help them to feel like they belong? I'm a Guyanese chemist and I rock. All right? So we also, don't want to, a lot of the burden is on the teachers too, to make this happen, make this magic happen in the classroom. But teachers are humans and they have families and they have other competing priorities. So that part of the book is about how do we support our teachers and make them feel included and uplifted, comfortable and happy in their profession so that they can give that energy to the students in the classroom. So that in a nutshell is the 3P approach, and that's the foundation for the book. Now I'll hand over to my colleague and sister Medeba to give you a teaser based on the context and a sampler from the book, sampler of activities that we did.
Thank you, Dawn. So earlier, before I get into the main context, that sampler or teaser of our book, I just want to stop and take a moment to say thank you to some people that Dawn couldn't necessarily thank for me. So she alluded to my immediate family, and I'm grateful for their time and patience with me during this process. But I also want to give a shout out to my mom. I know she's online and she's listening. My mother, Felicitas Herbert, has been my biggest cheerleader in everything that I do. Of course, because I'm her only child, she can't help but be that. So I'm very grateful for all of her moral support throughout this entire process. I also would like to thank the team of people I would have worked with over the last decade or so on general chemistry courses. These people allowed me to really experiment with pedagogies and assessment strategies. And anybody who knows me know that I'm always trying something new on our first year courses and so on. So I have to name the names. Samantha Joseph, and she's here. Hitasmin Singh, Basil Day, Senar George, who's not here, our goodly Dawn Fox, and in most recent times, Shamer Garnett. These are all people that allowed me to really just experiment, and I'm very grateful for all of your support. I also have a group of friends that I need to mention because, life is not all about work. And this group of people, I knew them since school, high school, refer to them as my sisters, and they provide a space for me where I can just go and let my hair down and just be my unfiltered natural self. When things got tough, I was able to go there and find refuge. So if they're listening, Nadine, Sabrina, and Nafisia, I appreciate you guys. So just needed to send those few kind words. In addition to that, I would like to thank my co-authors, Dawn, just for the vision and for having the confidence in me to invite me along for this journey, and then for masterfully steering our entire operation. Thank you. And to Jackie, Jackie's a force to reckon with, I will tell you. But Jackie was the one on this team who always encouraged us to shoot for the stars. And so when rejections were coming and we were a bit timid about sending our proposal to more notable international publishers, Jackie was the one that said, let's do it, let's go for it. And she's the reason why we got published by Routledge. Thank you, Jackie. So in terms of the main context of the book, I'm a practitioner. I think of myself more of a chemistry educator than a chemist itself. So just to give you a bit of a teaser without being too technical, I don't know how many educators we have here, but our main principles, they're built on diversity in pedagogy, the concepts of interdisciplinarity, and hence you see the theme, cooperative learning, peer learning, authentic learning. Right, so what you will see in the book, if you do get a chance to get a copy, and I urge you, please get a copy. The hard copy may be a bit expensive, but get a soft copy. You'll really learn. What you'll see in the book is mention of rethinking our laboratory exercises, moving away from the recipe-style labs where students come in, they receive a handout, they're told do X, Y, Z, report your results and leave, and they have not connected to that lab exercise. So we're thinking of retooling that and have those students do more of a plan, design, execute kind lab. All right, so it's more where they get to engage with the theory and they understand what they're doing. They carry out that experiment, and if it fails, then they get to try again. It's going to take some effort, it's going to take some resources, but in the book we've described ways that it can be done in a low resource context, which is how we operate. Then you'll see things like interdisciplinary work. And we're imagining that this can be done at the higher level, where we look at our undergraduate research projects. And instead of it being just one student working on a specific chemistry idea with a specific lecturer, have them do some group work, and not just cross disciplines within chemistry, but cross departments. So we can have one undergraduate project that is being done by a chem major, a biology major, maybe an environmental science major, even a civil engineering. There are various aspects that we can tie together, and so that the students are able to see that project from an entire systems thinking point of view. Because the way the world is now, if we solve one problem in this unilateral manner, then you'll have all sorts of side effects happening, other problems coming up. So if you have people from different disciplines attacking it, then while the chemist might be going, oh, all green and all that, you might need that economist to say, look, hold it down. This costs too much. We have to find a sweet spot. So we're thinking of, we presented ideas like that in our book. And also the fact of peer learning, because with me personally, when I started out here, I was very young. I probably looked like a student, and I connected with them really well. But then as I aged, and those students, the difference in our ages got larger and larger, I realized that in class I wasn't able to connect with them on a social level. Like I couldn't find the appropriate ad-libs and jokes to reach them or whatever. I'd be cracking my joke and they're looking at me. I'm like, okay, we're now disconnecting. So one of the things I think is actually important is peer learning. And we've suggested ways in which we can implement peer learning here at the university. Some students may learn better if they can hear it from someone similar in age to them or someone who's speaking their language. I don't want to say too much, but basically we present an entire buffet of different pedagogies that you can attempt. And I just want to start by leaving a quote with you from the book. It really got to me when I heard this from Dr. Fox. So in the last chapter, chapter 11, when we were winding things up, Dr. Fox likened our 3P approach to a buffet. And this buffet has many items. But we're cautioning you that even though we're promoting diversity and trying many different strategies, not to do it all at once or to overwhelm yourself. Because you can overwhelm yourself, you get tired, you could also overwhelm your students. So in taking caution, Dr. Fox says it's not advisable to try everything at the buffet at the same time. Obviously, the strategies you select would be influenced by the available resources that you have. And we know we're limiting our resources. But the idea is to use a repetitive, experimental, and methodical effort to build competence and diversity over time. So there's just a bit of a caution that when you see the proposals there, you don't get overwhelmed and think you have to do it all and you have to do it all this year. But take it in strides and, try those buffet items, 1 or 2 items at a time. I'll hand you back to Jackie, who will explain to you a little bit about the usefulness of pedagogical diversity.
Well, thanks, Medeba. I'll just pick up, though, on something you would have been saying. You mentioned all these different strategies that the book has and that could be used, and that there has to be care in choosing. I don't want anybody out here to think that you're just listening to same old, same old. It's not same old, same old. Because when we were looking at this whole aspect of diversity and diversifying the chemistry education curriculum, we looked at the fact that we have students in our classrooms. They have specific ways that they might like to learn. And it's not just about the flex teaching, the peer learning, the cooperative learning, but it is also about incorporating the various ways in which they would like to learn and planning lessons around that. The survey, that baseline survey that we did, pointed to the fact that students preferred particular ways in which they would like to learn, and the lecturers had their own way in which they would love to teach. So we believe that this book points to the fact that it's not just the lecturer going and lecture or just going to laboratory, but looking and getting from the students how they would like to learn, what is their preference with regards to learning, and crafting those teaching and learning experiences to capitalize on the way they would like to learn. We believe that if that is done, we will have more people gravitating towards chemistry, more people moving beyond a first degree in chemistry, because the classroom, by virtue of the way it is going to be reshaped, will be a dynamic one, will be an engaging one, and will not be one where the student is just required to go to the labs, maybe do the tutorials and the like. We know that this is going to take some doing. All the strategies to combine it with these different types of thinking that we have articulated in that book, we're going to need other people to come on board. We don't have all the answers. I want to say something else too. During the course of all of this, our students spoke to us in the classroom, irrespective of what discipline you teach. Get your students to speak to you. When they speak to you, you will get much more that you can use to help them navigate their journey. We discovered that employers, they don't just want people who got technical skills. They don't just want people who know things. They want people who could lead a team, people who could be critical thinkers, people who could be problem solvers, people who could innovate and create new things that they themselves could market out there. This book is indicating to all of us that our graduates need to have what we call soft skills. Those skills are in great demand for 21st century employees and employers. A student who just has the know-how, the technical skills, oh yes, they can go get a job. But those complex problems that need to be solved, we have to find a way through the curriculum, through designing it, to make sure that our students leave with the kinds of skills that will make them employable. We will, by virtue of operationalizing some of the things here, perhaps in some way alleviate all those things we hear in the media about UG graduates not able to do A, B, C, and D. We will hear the accolades that when you take a UG graduate, they don't just come knowing, but they have these other skills that make them attractive, make them a good proposition for anyone to employ. So I think I want to stop there because I think I could talk a lot. They found that to be the case in the group too. So they had to keep a clock on me because my mouth will keep going. But here's the thing before I stop. Yes, there I go again. I will stop. Dawn, over to you.
Thank you, Jackie. So I think we could plug it up by making the pitch. Are you ready to give it? I'll hand over to my sister Medeba to give a pitch about who the book is for. Who is this book for? I think that's a good note to close on.
So, I mean, you guys have heard a little bit about what's there. If you're sitting here, and even those on Zoom, you can raise your hands the Zoom way. Who is willing to purchase a copy of this book? Who thinks they need this book by show of hands? Or they would benefit from it? All right, we have a decent show. Okay. We have a decent show. Yes, price point is a challenge, I understand. So, but yeah, we can't leave by, encouraging persons to check it out. So if you are a chemistry educator or even any STEM course, you teach any science, technology, engineering, mathematics course, at the postgraduate level, at the post-secondary level, including sixth form, so if we have any high school teachers here, then you will stand to gain from reading this book. Because what you will realize is that the challenges you face in our low resource context here is not unique to you, right? You will read about persons who face similar challenges all over the world. There's some examples of innovations that they have used, and they even mention the limitations. All that is provided in somewhat of a literature review for you. Also, you get a chance to try out the proposed mechanisms that we have mentioned. If you're not into STEM and you're just any educator, you teach anything at all, then this book is also for you. Because, well, of course at the post-secondary, we didn't write for the junior folks, but the mention of diversifying your pedagogies will translate to any classroom. So the book is also for you. And for our people like our goodly registrar, our education management officials, you too will serve well to have a copy, because even though we write and we propose mechanisms for low resource contexts, it's not no resource context. We still need our heads of institutions to understand that while STEM education might be costly, it is necessary if we're going to have any form of sustainable development, especially in a country that is developing. And lastly, if you're into research, if you're a graduate student or any kind of education scholar, the book provides a vast literature review and empirical evidence from the survey that we did that you can cite, and like a whole framework that you can work with to assist with your research. So I think I would have whetted everyone's appetite to go check, get a sample, borrow your friend's copy even if you can't afford one. But delve into the book, delve into the contents of the book. I think I will hand you back to Jackie, who's going to tell us, what's next for us, right? Yeah.
Yes, what's next for us? What's next for us is actually operationalizing things in that book. We've just not written. We want now to see how those things we've recommended, those things we've articulated, how they will transform into actual teaching and learning. We're going to need our colleagues to come alongside us to help craft those different kinds of experiences that would be necessary. And out of those experiments that will take place, out of the experiential learning that will occur, we intend to start our second volume. So look out for us. We'll approach you. If you have an idea, after reading the book and you want to tell us about it, come alongside, and we will certainly have you as a member of the team in the second edition. Thank you all.
Thank you, Jackie. So a gaff can't be just one-sided, so we're handing over back to the chair so that we can get you involved. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Just put your hands together for the authors, please. As a good start to the gaff. I want to recognize, I think, our Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic Engagement is online, Professor Emmanuel Cummings. I see joining us here at the lecture theater is Professor Gomati Nayagam Subramanian, the director of the Berbice campus. Thank you very much. Everybody just say Professor Gomes. Thank you very much for joining us. I see another sister of Dr. Murray, and was that your son? You said you would come sit next to your other sister, so her son is here, and those who would have joined us during this process. It's nice kind of listening to the process that unfolded, where they started, and then getting a sense of what's in there in our book for you. As Medeba was talking, I'm familiar with that particular gap where you try to make a reference and they look at you like, you're alien. A couple of things came up there. One is that we hear it often, but it's very true. It takes a village, and it took a village to bring out this book. We heard all the family members, of course, that would have had to give their support in one way or another. Also, there's another thing people say, that the teamwork makes the dream work, and it was a serious team being put together, a team that held each other accountable, a team that held each other accountable and really brought out this beautiful, useful piece for us. When I was reading, I saw systems approach, and whoa, because I think it's a concept that we don't very often engage with, but it's the concept that really allows us to truly have the best, good, and sustainable success. I remember the conversations before I even knew this book was being written with Dawn about flipped learning, because we were, when we couldn't come to class, we were working on that, trying to introduce that into even some of our biology deliveries. The connecting to the students with things that they are culturally familiar with was something that also came out in that. It was, and I mentioned that to ensure that when you're teaching, they can connect the complex chemistry concepts, the familiar things, so that it allows them. The matching of learning to teaching, the building of the whole person, not just as the scientist, but the fact that they need both hard and soft skills that are appropriate for the role that they will perform within the workforce. That point I took note of about not trying everything at once at the buffet. It's a very, very good point. It has applications in other things too. So I just wanted to drop those observations as we get into the questions. We have about 12, 15 minutes of questions from you. And if you don't ask questions, I have a question for you. Either at the beginning or at the end, the question will come. So the floor is open. I think we have a mic that will go around. If you have a question from the lecture theater here, we'll get the mic to you. And if you're online and you have a question, we will take you, we can get them to speak. We will promote you to be able to speak and ask your question live. So I'll first ask, is there anyone in the audience here, the Education Lecture Theater? I think we have one hand up online already. So perhaps I'll go there and the folks here will think a bit more. So I think we have Professor Emmanuel Cummings. Professor Cummings?
Yes, thank you, Chairperson, Mr. Bernard. Let me first, I'm very excited and extremely happy. It's unfortunate that I wasn't able to come face to face because of other commitment, but certainly I would have liked to be there. But you know, I'm online, and if I'm there, I'm really thrilled and happy as I listen to the comments of the three authors, two chemists and an education specialist. What a combination! But before I don't have a question. I just want to make some comments. But let me first congratulate all three of you for this book that tries to make chemistry much simple to our students. You know, I've been saying for years, everything is What is not chemistry? Everything is chemistry. There's chemistry in engineering, chemistry in agriculture, chemistry in medicine, chemistry in business. Everything is chemistry. And as I listen to the authors, I think I've already got that impression that this book spells that to the students, regardless of what background, which career you'd have wanted. You're pursuing, there is some amount of application to which this book will certainly help you. You know, I've been teaching biochemistry for a number of years. Anything with chemistry always excites me. And one of the first questions, if I can just share this, that I ask students coming from natural sciences, but done chemistry, then biology. The first question before I even start teaching, I ask them, what is a free radical? Now, that's something you learn in chemistry, but now you have to apply that to medicine. You know, that sort of application where where because we age because of free radicals, we get diabetes because of free radicals, we get cardiovascular disorders, we have cancer because of free radicals. I'm just showing you the application of chemistry. It is such a powerful subject that that can be felt in every single area, and I'm really really happy that that I think the three of you have really made the University of Guyana really proud um, with this significant accomplishment. I give one little example, but I'm certain there are many other similar examples that are there in this book where persons and students really need, in high school, many persons drop out of chemistry class. It is too difficult, you know. Um, Wherever I go, whatever chief, the person that I recognize all is my chemistry teacher, the late Mr. Sam Moore, who taught me chemistry in high school, and he's the first person I will always remember as the best teacher that I would have ever had, that helped me to understand chemistry and that have brought me to where I am. And so I do believe that this book certainly will fill those gaps. Those as I listen to the commentary, the difficulty the students are having, mathematics, physics, chemistry, those are the areas that nobody likes because it's too hard. They can't understand all these formulas to balance these equations and and all of that. I'm getting the impression that this certainly, and that is what education is all about. Education in the 60s, education in the 80s, and now in 2024 has to be different. And so the three of you have really bridged that gap. I'm hoping that this will simplify chemistry, which is such an astonishing, a really great subject. To me, it's the best subject ever, chemistry. Because as I said in the beginning, everything is chemistry. What is not chemistry? Every single thing in life is chemistry. And so let me close. I can say much more, but to really congratulate you, and I do hope that this authorship here will serve as an inspiration for other authors in the university. Um, Last week there was, I think there was launch of a book from social sciences, and this is what will put the university on the map. This is what will continue to strengthen the recognition that apart from researchers and whatever to do, but we have authors that are coming out, and that is helping the world to answer a lot of the complex questions to which we have. So once again, congratulate my heartfelt congratulations to all of you, and I wish you success in your sales. I certainly will try to get a copy, and please, I'm certain that this could hope it serve as a textbook for students of chemistry and engineering, in agriculture, in pharmaceutical sciences. Sometimes it just allow this. Going back, in my early days at the University of Guyana, there were students who would the only subject they would fail is chemistry. And so I do hope that this will be able to make things easier and more understandable and more applicable to students in the various professions. Thank you, thank you, thank you for giving me the opportunity for voicing my comments. And I really, really wish to congratulate all three of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Cummings. Floor is still open for questions. You have another one online? Sorry, who's it? Video, is the guy from yes. I think we have another person online. Professor Cummings, if you can just lower your hand. I think the person may pop up there, but I think it's Dr. Vidya Rupchan who's there too. Vidya Rupchan is there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, yes, we can hear you, Vidya. I can
Oh,
hear you
okay.
online at least.
Yeah, so very good. Thank you. Thanks that you can hear me. So congratulations to the three of you on that book. I'm so impressed on what you've been able to accomplish, to knowing that there's so many challenges in Guyana. I was very amused that Dr. Cummings mentioned his chemistry teacher, Mr. Sam Moore, because I don't know who Sam Moore is, but as long as I've known Dr. Cummings, he's always talked about Sam Moore. I always talk about George Walcott and Halvidar Singh because those were my chemistry professors at UG. But I think what Dr. Cummings said about chemistry being important in every field is very, very relevant to all of the challenges that we are facing now, not just in the pharmaceutical industry, right? But also in clean energy, biotechnology. All of those industries need a very solid foundation in chemistry. So if that's the one message that comes out of this is that chemistry is not just in the lab, it's applied to every field, right? Starting from medicine, development of vaccines, clean energy, environmental sciences. So I think one of the challenges that I faced when I was going to high school was that some people are just scared of chemistry because they heard it was hard. They gave it before they even started trying. And so I had some great chemistry teachers at Andrew Janin Air School who took the time to explain things to me, Sarojini Abbas and those chemistry teachers there. But I think I really flourished at the University of Guyana when I came there as an undergrad in 1985, because people like George Walcott and Hal Vidar Singh, they were actively involved in teaching, even though they were administrators. They also taught part of the chemistry classes and were there in the lab. So, I like to congratulate all of you, and I would like to encourage all of the students to read this book. I would like to get a copy, so maybe I'll buy it on Amazon. But congratulations, and I'll just like to add my voice to encourage more students to think about the long-term ramifications of a chemistry degree, because the University of Guyana has had global impact on COVID, right? So now we are known for our chemistry program. So I think there are a lot of students out there who started at the University of Guyana who have had an impact globally, but we just don't know about it. So I think another thing we could do at the University of Guyana is to invite some of these people who have established themselves all around the world to come and give talks. Because I know, for instance, right, the head of Johnson & Johnson contact lens, the AccuView guy, is Guyanese. I went to UG with him. I studied chemistry with him. His name is Azam Ali. The head of the University of Rhode Island Natural Products division there is Professor Navindra Siram. I went to UG with him. He was also a chemistry major. So there are a lot of great UG chemistry alum all around the world. We just don't know about them at UG. So it might be a good thing for the universities to reach out to these people, and invite them to give talks. All right, so congratulations again, and thank you very much for giving me a chance to speak.
I think please go ahead. Thank you for your kind words. We also have another Purple Blood sister, Dr. Keisha Ellis Holder. She's online. Dr. Holder, I think you should be able to unmute.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. It's such a distinct honor to be witnessing this occasion from the diaspora, letting you guys know that UG is on the map, woohoo! And it's really an awesome thing to witness. Definitely, I want to congratulate all three of you for putting this STEAM in STEM and for bringing humanity to science. Science oftentimes is just seen as this purist type of discipline that's so exclusive and for the quote unquote smart people. And without realizing it, it alienates so many gifted and talented young people just because of how it appears. And so I'm definitely distinctly happy about the fact that you ladies have stepped up to the occasion to actually just make it so accessible and reachable to the masses so that none of our young people get left behind. And the second thing I want to congratulate you all on is for leading the charge of adding to the body of work from our end of the world, because our information that we've been using a lot is referencing from other places and other standards that we oftentimes have to morph ourselves into to adjust and learn and then come back and retrofit it to our spaces. But what you've done is you've actually created a data set that is applicable to something that we can literally connect with. So you guys have literally broken ground, and you've given us no excuse in the rest of the Caribbean to follow suit, because now we have something to build on. And I'm so proud of you, so proud of you. And of course, you know, because you're living examples right there in front of our students, they now have living, breathing examples of how to do it, right? So just heartfelt congratulations and thank you for taking the charge and for being courageous enough to finish the thing. All right, good job, guys. Awesome, awesome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Holder. We're going to take a last question or comment. I'm going to ask that we, now I have to say, keep it a little brief, because I know we can gap all day from online, and then we have two in the audience here. First the registrar, and then across to the gentleman there. So online, just to close off on the online bits, Mr. Mustafa St. Jules.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, congratulations, ladies. Congratulations. Awesome work. Awesome, awesome work. Don, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. I'm glad to see the book, and I'm glad to see the focus on cross-discipline and cross-departmental interaction. As someone who graduated from the University of Guyana 20 years ago and carved a niche out in pharmaceutical science, cross-discipline work is very, very important. I also like the fact of the transferable soft skills. Like, just being a technically focused person is not going to get you where you want to go. You have to have those soft skills. So I'm glad to see that is also included in the book. I just want to keep it brief and say, great job, guys. I would like to purchase 2 copies of the book, not for myself, but maybe Dawn can give it to someone who can use it. So Dawn, if you can give me information offline, I can order it and have it shipped to Guyana. Again, great job, ladies. Great job.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Could we get the mic to the registrar, please? Where's the microphone, the roaming microphone? Who's got the microphone? Well, allow me to save the voice for Sunday singing.
Thank you. Yes. I have a very different take on today's launch. I'm glad I came. This is really historic and needs to be part of the permanent historiography of the University of Guyana. It's historic in the context that in our globe of academics, that our black people pursue careers in chemistry. And from that 7.8% globally, it's less than 1% women that are involved. And Maria Marnard Daly, the first black woman to receive a PhD in chemistry, started that process. Today, I'm convinced that the University of Guyana would have etched permanently in the annals of the Western Hemisphere's history 3 black women pursuing a scholarly work in post-secondary chemistry education. There's no other institution in our region in which 3 females. This is certainly historic. And as a student of history, I could not let that escape us. And in so doing, I congratulate Dr. Dawn Fox, Dr. Jacqueline Murray, and Miss Medeba, my great friend
soon to be
over
doctor,
years, for this. But more importantly, you have etched the history of seminal and pioneering publication in the hallmarks of our academy. Thank you and congratulations.
I know the gentleman's face, but I don't remember the name, so I'm going to ask him to introduce himself since everybody else went on record.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Damien LaRose,
yes.
and I studied chemistry beginning in 2004, and I was also the president for UGSS. And so I came home 2 days ago, tired from sports, browsing through Facebook, and I saw the post. And I know this is something that I could not allow it to pass. And so I had to be here to congratulate in different aspects the 3 ladies before us who served in different capacities throughout my life as first teachers and then colleagues. I started teaching very early. And so here we have Dr. Fox, and I want to say from when I was in school, we must pronounce the name correctly, and now it is Dr. Jacqueline Murray. And also Miss Medeba Uzzi. It is really groundbreaking for what we have here today, and it's really, really an amazing thing that we have. I'm going to keep it short with my question, and I want to ask the question of, from the book and from your perspective, where can we say is the paradigm shift from what we have or had and to where your book will take us in the future with chemistry and chemistry education?
Thank you very much, Damien.
Thank you, Damien, for the question. And I'm going to jump in first, but of course I'm going to invite my sisters to weigh in as well. So the paradigm shift is, in a word, diversity, right? We want to move away from the experience just being what is happening in the classroom, even though within the classroom, we're looking for diversity as well. If I am a teacher who likes to use PowerPoints and chalk and talk, but my students prefer to have discussion, then there'll be a disconnect. And whereas there might be a limit to how well you can tailor everything to suit every student in the class, you're going to catch a lot more flies with some honey if you try to tailor that honey to make it attractive to them. So that's the first thrust that is different. And then we want to widen it. How do we give students agency to shape that educational experience? We only have, at UG, we only have 13 weeks with them. Right? We could just allow them to pass through because we have to finish our course outline. Or we can say, this is the only time that they're going to pass through it. I've been doing it 20 years, but this is your only time you're going to be doing thermodynamics with me, hopefully. And I want it to mean something to you. What will make it mean something to you? And that's where we have to go to the student to find out, who are you? What are your interests? What would excite you? And how can I link this abstract thing to something concrete that you like and you love? Then the paradigm shift is that 3P. It's a 3-pronged paradigm shift in that it's about people. It's about people. So while I might be, trying in my little corner, I can be amplified if I have a community of persons who are also trying alongside me. And this actually happened. It happened organically, out of necessity during COVID, when those WhatsApp groups sprung up and we started learning from each other how to shift and how to adapt. That can be translated into the offline modes of teaching where we can improve our practice just by connecting with our colleagues. And we can get that sustenance and support as teachers. Same way, we want the students to feel connected and happy in the classroom. So we have to make the classroom that safe space is what I call it. The safe space where I can make mistakes without feeling like a failure. I can connect with my colleagues in a respectful way. I don't have to look like them or sound like them. I can get respect and connectivity with my teacher, approach them. So the space changes when we focus on the people in the space, and then the experiences that we provide, and then the different ways that we reach out to them. So I think that is the 3P approach. That's our paradigm shift that we're advocating in the book. But please weigh in. Please weigh in.
Yes, I just want to amplify a little bit in terms of the paradigm shift that we're actually promoting through this book. We know that labs are separate and the teaching takes place separately as well. We are actually advocating that it occurs in the same space. How that gets done is another story. What we're also advocating, and we looked at, I don't know, well, we have some educators here, and you might have heard about Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences, and that there are these different ways in which students like to learn. They prefer to learn. So what we're proposing in this book here, it's not sufficient for the lecturer to have a particular style of teaching, and that is not consistent with the way students like to learn. And we are proposing that you find the means of getting from them their preference and using the curriculum, reshaping it. You might have to find yourself maybe taking people in groups because you might suppose you got diverse people in the room. This book is about diversity and how we deal with that. Diverse people will need diverse strategies. There are those of us who might have multiple ways in which right here, we can learn and we learn. There are those of us, since we hear a song, oh, we got it. There are those of us, if we hear a poem, we got it. There are those of us, if we have an abstract thing in front of us, nobody understands, but only that person could tell you what that thing means. So this book is saying, take chemistry education, cook it up, mix it up, find these different ingredients and put it in, get your different dishes, and give it to the student. It will be likable to their palate. And we are saying that, listen, once that happens, you're going to see a dynamic chemistry classroom. And nothing beats word of mouth. If students get good experiences in that classroom and they're taught in unique ways, differently, they're going to talk about it. They're going to talk about it in their homes. They're going to talk about it with their friends. They're going to talk about it any and every which way. And every one person will talk to 4 other persons. And you think about the multiply effect, where we got different people now talking about how exciting it is to be in a chemistry classroom. So when it comes to this book, that's why I said, not same old, same old. We're going to take what is here because we're not throwing out, but we're going to shape it differently based on what the environment requires or what our students require. So that's the paradigm shift this book focuses on.
Thank you very much. And thank you, the audience online and those here, for the comments, the well wishes, the congratulations, and the question. I perhaps want to ask my own question in a way, but it's a yes/no thing, because I have a perception here. This book is written by chemists from the perception of teaching chemistry education, but there are lots of things I see in this book that's relevant to education in general. That is applicable to biology, that's applicable to physics, that's applicable to any subjects that is teaching, that's being taught. Am I right or wrong?
Absolutely correct.
Thank you very much for confirming that. And so on that point, I think we've learned quite a bit about what's in the book and what's there for you as an educator. So I'm sure people here online, you're fully convinced. I heard somebody was asking where. So we got a couple of places. I checked it out myself. I know it's there. I can tell you the price offline. You can go to Routledge.com. You can go to Amazon.com. It's on Taylor and Francis, Barnes and Noble, and a lot of other places where books are sold. I even saw it being sold on the Walmart site. So it's out there. It's easy to get. You can get an electronic copy or you can get a hard copy. It's on Amazon Kindle and it's on whatever is the ebook that the Barnes and Noble and the other guys are putting out. So you have lots of options. Whichever app you're using, grab a copy for yourself. So as we come to the end of the GAF, we have a couple of people who will receive their first copy, and I'm saying first copy, either as an individual or as a representative of a particular office or organization. So we're going to be handing out some complimentary copies. You can do it right up on stage. Right on. And I'll call those persons forward. I know that even after they receive this first complimentary copy, they will still go buy another copy for themselves. I'm convinced. I'm convinced. As soon as they open it and they look, they go, oh, I have to get the next one. So let's get a couple of persons who are here. On behalf of the Vice Chancellor, I want to invite Ms. Latoya Kemraj. She's the Administrative Secretary to the Vice Chancellor. She'll receive a copy on behalf of Professor Mohammed Martin. On behalf of the University Library and Chief Librarian, I don't see her here, but we do have Ms. Deborah Lowe representing the library.
Deborah is the new librarian, guys.
Yes, I got it. For the National Library, Ms. Allison Simmons. And for the Government Technical Institute, Mr. Akeem Wilson, Senior Lecturer in the Science Department, and a graduate from the Chemistry Department. From Education. Chemistry student. I get these things thrown at me like... Natural science are the kind of people, when they catch it, is holy, right? I'm just telling you. Watch yourself, Jackie. All right. Thank you all. And so to bring some closing remarks and remarks of appreciation, I'm going to invite another purple blood, Ms. Samantha Joseph, lecturer in the Chemistry Department.
Good afternoon, everyone. And it's a pleasure to be giving expressions of appreciation. I would like to add to all the good wishes that were given this afternoon in complimenting our three authors that we're celebrating this afternoon. Congratulations, congratulations, congratulations. I feel like one of the luckiest persons, because even though I haven't had a chance to go through this book as yet, the little snippets that we've been given, I feel as if I've been exposed to these methods in the 16 plus years that I would have worked with both Dr. Fox and Ms. Uzzi in the Department of Chemistry. So I really am excited about going through it because I feel so familiar with some of the things that they would have told us about this afternoon. So I do look forward to having that. One other thing I'm going to add before I get into the thing, and I'm only saying this because Dr. Fox mentioned it And then Dr. Cummins came on and spoke about the teacher he remembers, the chemistry teacher. And then we had somebody else mention theirs. So an amazing fact that we realized in the Department of Chemistry is that we have 4 members of the department, and we all had the same chemistry teacher from high school. And we always say that she had to be doing a very good thing that all 4 of us ended up teaching chemistry in the Department of Chemistry, Ms. Grace Henry. So without further ado, I'll go right into it. I'd like to thank, first of all, our chair for this afternoon for his smooth and polished stewardship of the program. I'm sure you agree with me. Thanks to our Vice Chancellor, in her absence, for taking time to give thoughtful and inspiring open remarks. Thanks to our talented saxophonist and future biologist, Damian Lane, for enlivening today's event with the beauty of music. Thanks to the DEC team led by Director Jaina Ryan Dienard for all the seen and unseen hard work in organizing this book launch. Special thanks to Mrs. Karina Leslie, UG Press Secretary, UG Press Manager, Ms. Yulaski Jervis, and all the members of the team. Thank you for your patience and support over the many months. To all our invitees from outside of our walls, thank you for taking time to be here with us. There's so much going on everywhere, and we're grateful you chose to spend this time with us. To everyone in our home community, you know yourself, our UG home, our faculty colleagues, our students, our staff, thank you for being here. Special thanks to Ms. Tricia Dash, Secretary of the Department of Chemistry, for much appreciated secretarial support. Thanks to the Facilities Maintenance Division and Ms. Sancho for the comfortable accommodation here in ELT. To anyone to whom thanks is due, but you didn't hear your name or team, please pardon us, and double thanks to you. To everyone here as well as those joining online, we haven't forgotten those of you online. Thank you for being an attentive and actively participating audience. At this time, I will now hand the podium back to the chair to officially close this event.
Thank you very much, Samantha. I thought I heard you refer to Yulaski as UG Press. She's the events coordinator. She does events. She's head of events, that I know. But I wanted to recognize Miss Karina. My ears work wrong sometimes. Miss Karina Leslie, please give us a wave at the back. Turn the cameras. We want a camera that can go there. We want to recognize her. She may not be as well known. She's relatively new in the UG community, but has been active and has been working hard together with her team, both to bring this event to where we're at, and we're bringing the book even to here. So thank you very much, Miss Leslie. So with that, we're going to go to some light refreshments, but I told you had to earn, you had to do a test before. This is post-test. So before we can go off to refreshments, someone has to at least represent us all, or else we can't eat, to tell us what is this 3P approach. No, nobody from the stage, please. What is a 3P approach? Look, we can't eat if nobody answer me. Nobody got it? Latoya. All right, I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna help you out because I want you to. The 3P approach is about pedagogy. Oh, Deputy Registrar was going to answer? Deputy Reg, go for it, man. This is Dr. Theodosius Marmaduke Velosa. That's the full name.
Pedagogy. What's the other one?
Pedagogy, programming, and people.
People, programming.
Pedagogy.
Programming, yeah, okay, I forgot that one.
how we teach, what we teach, and who we teach.
Who we teach.
All right, thank you very much for saving us, Dr. Velosa. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is now over. We may have some light refreshments, some gaffing and photographs and so on and so forth. Have a wonderful weekend.